All right, this is 23.3 tips and tricks video from Mayhem Athlete. We've got wall walks, we've got double unders, we've got snatches, we've got some handstand push-ups and the weight goes up. So let's go. Yeah, we'll just kind of ramble a little bit here, but we've got Jake, we've got myself. Workouts announced. Nothing is to scale in here. You've got to have 8 feet between the wall and the rope. Make sure you're checking out games.crossfit.com for all the standards. We're here just going to talk about strategy a little bit, talk about just some things to think about. I'll speak from, all right, I'm doing this for time. So how am I going to manage fatigue? What am I going to do? 225 is a heavy barbell, but it's manageable. It's something that I can hit 99% of days, especially recently. So I'm going to try to control my fatigue. Strict handstand push-ups or something. If there is a handstand push-up that I'm decent at, it's a strict handstand push-up. So I'm going to use the wall walks to kind of warm up my shoulders, keep my shoulders loose. The snatches, I'm talking first barbell. I might touch and go a couple, maybe 2 sets. Keep the grip from getting too fried because that will come into play later on. When I get to 135, I think from then on I'm going singles. I think 135 singles, getting through, like I said, keeping a good rhythm on the double under, don't miss reps. It doesn't have to be a sprint, it could be pretty quick. As much energy as you can conserve to get through your 185 and through your 225, you're gonna be better off. So I like this workout. I think it's a pretty good test, pretty good workout. Those strict handstand push-ups, for me, for some of the higher end athletes, both sets probably unbroken. We'll see. You know, if there is a break, it might be somewhere in the middle. I like to get over halfway if I'm going to break, so at 12 and 8, something like that. And then, yeah, just get on that barbell and kind of grip and rip and get through it, you know, conserving as much energy as possible. You're thinking...
Yeah, well, like we said, there's probably like 3 levels of athletes. I mean, there's a whole lot of levels of athletes. But if it's somebody who's, this is like your year you're making quarters and you know for sure you're nowhere near semifinals level. But let's just say you're like 92nd, 93rd percentile. You're going to have to manage fatigue even more than 12-8 on the strict handstand push-ups because you're probably looking at the 225 barbell for guys specifically and thinking, I may just get like 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 at the most of those. You're probably going to get capped at that. So I would say you're taking like 30 to 40% of your strict handstand push-up max, and you're doing maybe sets of like 4 and 5 on the strict handstand push-ups. I also think that jump from 135 to 185 on the snatch is going to sneak up on a lot lot, especially guys
even the
like
225 to 1 or
185
from 185 to 225
sure.
is a
lot. Yeah, big time. Yeah, so it's less about thinking for time, and like you said before, it's thinking about for reps and managing fatigue, especially that first set of strict handstand push-ups.
Yeah, I think, you know, you're obviously, like we said, there's a bunch of different camps and what you're trying to do. So look at, you know, what realistically, you know, what is your goal here and try to maximize, you know, if 185 is going to be heavy, maybe take your time. If the gymnastics portion is the easiest part for you, then go fast on that type of stuff and then just manage damage on the barbell. Yeah, I think, like I said, this is a pretty good, well-rounded-ish test where you do have some gymnastics and, you know, 10 wall walks isn't a ton, but 40 strict handstand push-ups is a real in a workout. So you've got that, and then the barbell getting to ascend and adding some skill in there. So this is a pretty good test.
I'd say it's purely a muscle endurance test on your shoulders.
Yeah,
it's just about shoulders. So, and then being able to, you know, move a pretty, like Bosman said, a high-skilled movement of snatch under fatigue, but at the end of the day, it's about upper body, shoulder, muscle endurance all day.
Like we said, check the standards. We don't have the tape or anything out. There's really kind of two ways to wall walk. I'll try not to knock off this mic, but while I was thinking about it, there's what I would do is always kind of kick up into this knee-initiated push-up, and then you can either take big steps. Your hands can't leave the tape, I'm assuming, I haven't really read, until there, and then you'll walk, and then as you're coming down, you just kind of let those feet fall, but make sure your hands get there. The other way, a little quicker, if you're, you know, the shoulder fatigue isn't going to limit you as much, you can jump up into the rep, which might be a little faster. So that wall is really sticky. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. So on the wall walks, yeah, play around with those two different styles. You know, if the jump up might fatigue you a little bit more breath-wise, so you might want to be cognizant of that before you use that method. The step is a little slower. It is a little bit more time under tension too.
That's what I was going to say. I would do everything to reduce time under tension.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I don't think most people, like their heart rate is going to play a major factor in this workout.
No, I think it's like you're saying, shoulder fatigue. You know, for the upper limit, yeah, heart rate might play a little bit of a factor into it, but it's more going to be managing that shoulder fatigue when you get back to that. When I read on the handstand push-up, you're using the same tape. Your hand has to be touching it. You know, obviously there's no kip, no nothing like that. So be ready for that. I think, like I said, maybe practice in your warm-up, doing some wall walks, and then going to a handstand push-up and just seeing what that's going to do to your shoulders and how they're going to feel after, you know, 10 isn't a ton, but it might add up a little bit to get there.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add on that.
Yeah.
Double unders,
Smooth,
pretty straightforward.
controlled.
Yeah.
Yep. Try to relax those shoulders a little bit. Don't get too caught up and too tense here, because you do want to, that might be the point where you are getting a little bit of rest. You might get a little rest on the barbell, you know, cycling if you're letting that bar rest before you pick it up, but it might be that you're picking it up and going, and so there's not a ton of break and time not under tension. So think about that on the double.
Maybe talk about breaking up the snatches one more time, just to reiterate like how you would approach it.
I think with 95, you know, it's such a flimsy weight, and when you drop it, it could bounce around, and so you might as well doing 7 and 5. Yeah. Maybe a quick little break. You could do 12. You just got to kind of think about what that's going to do to you later on. I think once you get to 135, it's pick it up and drop it.
We're at 15 on the 95, right?
Is it 15? Okay,
yeah,
so yeah, you want to get halfway. I always go halfway.
Yeah.
8, 7, 9, 6, something like that. And then always, I think from then on, it's just singles.
For sure.
I mean, if you're super strong and your handstands are going to be, you're just kind of standing there waiting, then absolutely grip and rip if you want to. But I think there's so much damage can be done by trying to do that versus just, you know, letting that bar fall. There's not a ton of time to be gained with a quick, just pick it up and drop it, be ready to grab it as soon as it settles.
At what point are you hitting a full snatch?
Probably when I get to 225.
Okay. You just save it all the way, or do you try to hit one?
You might hit one at 185, and
okay.
maybe one at 135. The last one at 135, hit it just to like grease the groove a little bit. Maybe 95, who knows? You know, I lately have not been doing a ton of strength with the shoulder, with the knee, so I'm confident that I can hit 225. But it might be in more of a squat depth for sure, maybe a power or nah, you know?
Yeah, I would almost say that stands true for even most of the open athletes. That, again, it comes back to time under tension.
Yep.
I wouldn't do too many full snatches early on.
Nope.
You know, warm up with it well, but reduce time under tension.
Yeah,
from the wall walk, dubs,
like I said,
everything.
one at the last of each set, just to, hey, it's there if I need it, you know? So, cool. Let us know how it goes, and I guess we'll see you again at quarters.
All right, guys, 23.3 just got released. Warm up. We've got shoulders, and a little bit of calves, okay? So first thing we're gonna start out with, we're gonna go banded PVC pipe in. And what we're gonna work on is getting opened up for our snatch position. This is also gonna help with our wall walks as well. So what we can do, we can start wide on the PVC pipe. You're gonna lean out, up into your snatch position. You can get a little bit of hyperextension in here. Make sure we're keeping the core tight. We're not overarching the low back. Okay, so I'm a good squeeze. Let this open up. Then I'm gonna walk back in. Okay, we can hold this for about a minute. You can do a couple sets of this as well. Okay, next thing we're gonna go into, PVC pipe. I'm gonna drape it across my shoulder here. Okay, grab the bottom. We're gonna pull out into external rotation here. Hold this stretch for about 10, 15 seconds. I'm gonna come back up into this 90-degree position. Keep tension on here, so we're doing a contract, relax into that stretch, okay? Hit about 5 or 6 sets of this on both sides. Last thing, we've got some double unders in the workout today, so make sure calves are warmed up. What I'm gonna do is hop down on the ground with this band, wrap it around the foot. What we're gonna hit is a stretch with the band, and then we're gonna go into a contract down like you're pressing on the gas pedal, and then release back into that stretch. Hold this, probably about 10 reps of this. Hold this stretch for about 10 to 15 seconds. Press down on the gas pedal for about 5 seconds. Good luck.
Mayhem athlete, there's a lot of gymnastics and you have to be quick and efficient. So first, on the wall walks, I want you to drive your hips to the wall. Then I want you to take a gigantic step up. We're looking for an open shoulder angle, so we use our back muscles. We're gonna point our toes at the top, and then when we come down, we're gonna take a giant reach, and we're gonna splat. What I don't wanna see is a broken angle like this. We don't move up through space efficiently like that. The next is the double unders. We're gonna relax our shoulders. Keep our hands like this, and I want you to breathe through it. This is hopefully where you catch a little bit of breath. Do not forget to breathe upside down as well. If you are efficient enough and you get to the handstand push-ups, remember, this is a very close line. Your fingers, I think the standard is your fingers have to be on the line. The only way you will successfully do this is if you keep your spine stacked, which means we're gonna squeeze our midline and our glutes. So when we come up, we're going to get nice and tight as we press tall. We want to think about pressing tension through the whole skill. The second you lose tension, you're going to end up having to carry dead weight and pressing that back up. So remember, we're going to come down, keep pressing our palms to the ground as we press back up. Remember to breathe while you are upside down. You're going to need your breath for the rest of the heavier snatches.
Hey Mayhem athletes, and welcome to 23.3, the last week of the Open, the last week to pour all of your energy, all of your effort, and all of your hard work to finish up this year's Open. So this workout is all about efficiency, okay? Our upper body is gonna be smoked, which is kind of a little bit of a blessing in disguise for the Olympic lifts, because that means that we're really gonna need to make sure that we're very technically proficient and that we're utilizing our legs and hips more than we're using our arms. But this workout is not really gonna give you any other option but that. First and foremost, we wanna have a plan for whether or not you're gonna be barbell cycling or doing fast singles. So go into the workout with a plan of what you want to do, but of course make sure that you're ready to be adaptable if stuff hits the fan, okay? So for our lighter loads, a couple of cues that I like to focus on when I'm doing Olympic lifts in a CrossFit workout, specifically the snatch. Number one is keeping my hands nice and loose on the barbell. Getting my hook grip and keeping my hands loose allows me to keep my arms nice and loose so that I can really utilize all of that energy that is coming from my jump. If I'm really tight in my grip and tight in my arms, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of pulling motion. There's a lot of pressing motion already. I don't want to add that pulling stimulus with the pressing stimulus and really smoke my shoulders. So keep those arms nice and loose and use all that power from your jump. Next, we want to make sure that, again, I talked about efficiency, using the most efficient bar path, which is keeping that bar close to your body. Okay, the farther that bar swings away from our body, the less efficient the movement's gonna be and the more energy we're gonna have to use. So keeping my hands loose, keeping my arms loose, and then keeping that bar really close to your body. With that lighter load, that's gonna be a little bit easier. We're gonna be able to power snatch this lighter load, okay? As you start transitioning to the heavier weights, be prepared to start receiving the barbell a little bit lower each time in order to keep the efficiency. We don't want to be receiving the bar at the same height for the lighter weights and for the heavier weights. We need to make sure that we keep that efficiency by moving with the bar and changing our level a little bit. The heavier it gets and the more tired we get. Also have a plan for whether you're power snatching or squat snatching. The squat snatching might come into play with those heavier loads. And if that's what you're planning on doing, you might want to think about the last couple of reps of the previous weight. So say I'm going from the 95-pound bar to the 125-pound bar. 95 pounds, I can power snatch pretty easily, but the 125, I might need to start squat snatching. So maybe my last rep or two of my 95, I get a squat snatch in there just so that my body's not completely surprised when I go over and I squat snatch the 125. With these heavier weights, the 125, the 155, be very mindful about the amount of rest that you're taking. You're gonna be breathing hard, your body's gonna be tired, you're gonna feel like you wanna rest a long time. Trust your fitness and trust your technique. The best advice I ever got was, you can still lift heavy weight even when you're breathing hard. So I want you guys to remember that. And keep your technique solid, trust your technique, trust your fitness, and keep efficiency at the forefront of your mind. Good luck, you guys. Can't wait to hear how it goes.
Welcome back, Mayhem Athletes. We are back for the last and final week of 23.3. We've got some single unders, we've got snatches, we've got wall walks, and then we have hand release push-ups. So we're gonna give you the best tips and tricks that you can find to get yourself through this workout and hopefully finish this all the way through before you hit that time cap. So we have Clara with us. Clara just finished the scaled version of this and she absolutely rocked it. We're gonna talk about your setup and then we'll go over each individual movement and then we'll get a little bit of input from Clara. So starting off with this workout, we have lines on the floor to represent what the standards are. We didn't measure these exactly, so just make sure that you do take your measuring tape and you measure to the standards that are provided by the CrossFit Games website. So when this workout starts, the athletes are going to start with a line that the inside edge should be 8 feet from the wall. So Claire will start in front, right here. And then what's going to happen at 3, 2, 1, go, she is going to move to the wall and she's going to go into her wall walks. Now, scaled division has to have a tape line that is 55 inches from the inside edge to the wall, and it has to be 2 inches wide. So unlike the RX version of this, she is only going to be moving her hands from in front to behind that. So we're going to take a look at what a good rep looks like. Claire's going to start all the way down on the floor. Hands are clearly in front of that line, so palms, fingers, nothing touches that line. She puts both feet up on the wall. At this point, she can move both hands behind the line, then back in front of the line, and then she can come down. You guys are going to get tired on this workout because this is going to blow up your shoulders. It's going to blow up your lower body with your calves as well with the snatches and the double unders. Make sure you don't get ahead of yourselves and bring those feet off the wall before your hands are clearly in front. The second thing is that Clara does a fantastic job of maintaining a nice hollow position when she gets on the wall. If you guys get into that position and you've started to banana out and you've lost that core tension, it's going to make for a very difficult time stepping back out in front of the line. Lastly, when you're going through this, you start to get under duress, you're losing your breathing, take a nice big recovery breath or two before you go into your next wall walk to kind of give yourself a certain amount of pacing within that movement. After we get done with our 5 wall walks, what's going to happen is that Claire is going to move out to her jump rope. And she just did the workout, so I'm not going to put her through the paces too much here, but she's going to do single unders. So go ahead and just give us a couple single unders, Clara. So with single unders, we're going to think about, go ahead and relax for me. We want all the movement to be in our wrists, and when you're looking forward, you should be able to see those hands in your peripheral. Our shoulders are going to get fatigued in this workout, so hands are going to start to drift back, and when that happens, that rope contact with the ground is going to hit further and further back until it's going to get to the point where it's going to catch on your toes. So you've got 50 reps here. If you get into the 50 singles for some people is a piece of cake. Other people, it's very challenging. If you need to break these singles up into 2 sets of 25 from the beginning, don't be afraid to do that. If you can stay consistent with a set of 25, take a nice deep breath, and then go for your second set of 25. Do that rather than getting so frustrated that you start catching up on the rope too much. We'll go ahead and set the rope down. The next thing that we have is going to be our snatches. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have Clara grab the PVC pipe. Now, with these snatches, they can be power snatches, they can be squat snatches, it's whatever you prefer, but we're gonna start out with our lightest weight, and Clara's gonna set up below the knee at mid-shin. Now, if this barbell was loaded with full-size plates, it would hit right at mid-shin. If you were having to use a bar with smaller plates like 5s, you just need to be clearly below your knee. So don't get it on like an iffy zone to where people couldn't tell. So we got it clearly below the knee here. She's gonna go ahead and give us a power snatch. And a correction I'm already gonna make, and she's tired, so I'm gonna excuse this one. The bar drifted away from her. So when we go down to the bottom at mid-shin, we wanna think about keeping our knuckles down towards the floor, and we're gonna keep those lats engaged by thinking about bending that bar slightly. This automatically keeps the bar close. She's gonna give us a perfect rep now. Good. And we wanna make sure that we are getting full extension of those hips. Give me one more. Hips all the way open, that was better. Great job, and relax. When we go through this workout, your double unders are the biggest inconvenience in the world here. This is meant to exhaust your calves and to tax you physically by your breathing as well, so that when you get to this bar, the fatigue that's already set in from your shoulders is going to compound when we have to get that bar overhead and have to get our breathing back under control. Now, I'm gonna have Clara come over to the bar. She's gonna give us 2 power snatches here. On your lightest weights, we recommend trying to do some touch and go reps to make sure that you hit that before that 3-minute time cap. Give us 2 reps, keep your eyes forward and go. Nice. And reset, 1 more rep. And good job, set the bar down. Now, Clara can speak for herself, and you guys do need to check out the interviews we do after this because we'll talk about this. But when she started doing touch and go reps, her hips started getting high in between reps. So the bar was coming down, and she was starting to end in this position versus loading those hips up and driving with her legs. Your shoulders are blasted from the wall walks and those hand release push-ups you guys are going to get to. So utilize leg drive as much as possible when you get on the barbell. Now, after we get through the 3-minute time cap, that 6-minute time cap, if we have gotten into the 3rd section of this workout, we are introduced to hand release push-ups. So hand release push-ups are down on the floor. With this, Claire's gonna go all the way down so chest and quads touch the floor, lifts both hands clearly off the ground, back down, lift them off the floor and press up and back down, hands up, and back down, and relax. Again, with this movement, we are trying to mitigate shoulder fatigue. So how we took the recovery breath on our wall walks in between our reps, think about doing this with your push-ups so that way you are prepared for the heaviest barbell because we know you are gonna get all the way through the final 6 reps and mark this as a successful open. Thank you so much for following along. We can't wait to see the scores you throw up, and we will see you next year for 24.1. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to 23.3. This is your foundations. I would say almost by far the most important division, but you know, I'm biased. I've got Philip here. Philip just completed the workout. We're gonna put him through his paces again because he had so much fun with it the first time, right, Philip? Exactly. Wonderful. So for this workout, this is gonna be a variation of what we got for RX and Scaled. We are gonna have bear crawls in this version. After that, what we are going through are our jumping jacks for our jump rope movement, and then we are going to go through our snatches. So we've got some options here, as we always do with foundations, so you are gonna challenge yourself as much as possible, but pick a variation of this that you can do safely, but we still wanna get a workout out of this. So starting out, what we have is gonna be our bear crawls. So Philip was a little bit upset with me because we made this section a little bit longer than 5 feet, but for the sake of the camera, pretend we got 5 feet here. At the start of 3, 2, 1, go, Philip is gonna start with hands and feet behind the line, and then he is gonna bear crawl, keeping those hips above his shoulders if possible, until everything gets behind the line, and he will stand, he will turn around, and then he'll perform another rep. This counts as 1 rep going down. This counts as 2 reps going back. Now, do not discount bear crawls, because you may look at this as an RX athlete and be like, man, that looks really easy. This is a difficult movement because it compresses you and makes it difficult to breathe. So after we get done with this, next we are going into jumping jacks. So we have 2 options with our jumping jacks here. We can do the traditional jumping jack. Go ahead and give us a couple. Wonderful, and relax. The second option that we have, if jumping is gonna be too intense on our lower body, we can step these out, and Philip's gonna show us what it looks like. Stepping out each side, just like that, and relax. So again, pick the variation here. If you guys want to do a mix of the two different versions to keep your intensity up, you are welcome to. But make sure that you do pay attention to the reps on your jumping jacks, because as the rounds progress, it goes 50, 55, 60, 65. And again, jumping jacks, you may look at it and say, hey, I think I've got this. They are very difficult when you got to do a large number. If you don't believe me, Philip?
That's very true.
It's very true. So it's a very challenging piece here. So don't discount the jumping jack. The next thing that we have, we are going to go into the snatch. Now, with our snatch, we have 4 options that we can do here. Now, Philip used a barbell. We're using a PVC pipe just as the demo so that we can kind of show you what we're doing here. You can pick the weight on this, and the standards encourage you, if you feel comfortable, to add weight each time, only if that's something that you feel confident in doing. If you want to stay with the same weight all the way across, an empty barbell, a PVC pipe, you most definitely can. So the first movement is we're going to go down to mid-shin, and Philip's going to give us just a regular snatch. He's going to snatch that PVC pipe, standing tall at the top. Go back into another rep for me, Philip, and back up. Now, same thing we do for RX, same thing we do for scaled. When we're down in our bottom position, keep your knuckles down and keep those lats active. When Philip's down in the bottom position, take it down. I don't care if it's a PVC pipe or an empty bar, we still keep good form. He's going to keep this bar close and not let me pull it away. Give us one more rep. And relax. Wonderful. Now, if this is a little bit too difficult and we want to add assistance, we can set up parallettes like we just so happen to have here. And Philip is going to step in between those. And now he has a target that he's going to go down to. He's going to touch, and then he will snatch and reset. One more. Wonderful. Golf clap for Philip. And that will be our second variation. Now, we got 2 more variations we can do. So if the barbell is something that we can't work with, either because we don't have that skill yet or we don't have access to one, we can grab a dumbbell. So with our dumbbell, what Philip is going to do is alternating snatches to the floor. So go all the way down to the ground and take it up overhead. And then we can switch hands and do the same thing on the other side. Now, if we need to modify this, our 4th and final version is going to be modifying the range of motion. So if going down to the floor is a little bit too difficult for us right now and we're not ready to go all the way down, we can go to a hang position or as far down as we feel comfortable. So he's going to go to the hang and take it up. And then he's going to switch, go between the legs with it, Philip, just like that, and back up. And that is the variation on the snatch that you can do. So this is 23.3. You guys have made it this far. We've done 21.1, 0.2, 0.3. You guys are going to absolutely rock it. Please leave a comment below. Tell us how much you love Philip, because he's stuck with us all the way through this. He's been a great sport with it. And we can't wait to see the scores you throw up. And we will see you again next year for 24.1. Thank you.
All right, guys, cool down for 23.3. We had a lot of shoulders, and we had some double unders in there as well. So let's make sure after you finish, 5 to 10 minute cool down on the assault bike, echo bike, whatever you have. Flush out the arms, flush out the legs as well, okay? First thing we're gonna start with, I wanna go down on the ground, grab a lacrosse ball. Here we've got a hyperized, it can vibrate as well. Whatever you have laying around the house, baseball. We're gonna lay back, put this thing on the upper trap, and we're gonna work around in some motion here. Get these shoulders loosened up. They're gonna be blown up after this workout. So we wanna make sure, take care of these things. Find a couple of those tender spots around the front and the pec too, over on the lateral delt over here as well. For the calves, what we're gonna finish with, let's go a simple, nice cool down, 2-minute stretch each leg. Let's go a slant board stretch for the calf. Like I said, we can spend about 2 minutes in this position. And if you wanted to, get a little bend as well, and then get a stretch that way, okay? Hope you guys have fun. Appreciate you looking at these 23.3 tips and tricks.